Today is December 18th, 2025, and it is the due date for my son. I don't think he'll be here today. He's going to come a little late, just like his mom and dad. But I wanted to make this video where I interview myself with 15 questions that give you a look into my mind and just what's going on days before my son's arrival. I haven't seen too much content like this where you get a chance to kind of peer into somebody else's mind, and I hope you're able to relate to this. And thank you for watching in advance, and let's get into it. Hey, my name's Nate, 29 years old, and within the coming days, I'm going to become a dad, which feels insane to say. These are questions that I wrote down for myself. I didn't really give them much thought after writing the question down. I wanted to make it as authentic as possible. I'm a filmmaker for work. I've done hundreds of interviews, I think, at this point. So I do this for work all of the time, but to interview myself, it seems unique and it seems kind of tough. And I just want to be vulnerable right now about what's going through my head and what sorts of things I'm feeling days before my son's birth. So question number 1, when you picture yourself holding your child for the first time, what do you feel in your body before you even find the words? I think I will experience a feeling that I've never felt before. I think I'll experience a love that I didn't know I was capable of feeling. Of course, I love my family, my wife, but I think having a child will add an entirely new layer to that. And I'm almost scared to feel that feeling, let it just take over. And, from that moment on, we'll never not be parents again. We'll always be parents, and I'll always have this child in my life to look after and raise. And so I think all of that's going to hit me really hard the moment that I actually hold him. A lot of dads that I've talked to say the same thing, that they don't necessarily feel that they don't feel their baby's presence until they hold them for the first time, or they don't get hit by the emotions. And so I think that moment is going to be extremely powerful. Question number 2, what parts of your own childhood are you most aware of as you prepare to become a father? This question is special. I think, especially within the past week or so, it feels like my life has been on a movie reel in my mind. I'm reflecting on my entire life lately. It's almost like, it's like when people say when you die, you see your life flash before your eyes. Well, my life has been playing before my eyes and my brain. I don't know why, but I am reflecting on everything in every little moment and thinking about everything that I'd ever done. And I think it's because this is truly a new chapter. Like this is going to be life-changing. And I'm reflecting on what I had in my life, what I want to share with my kid, and maybe some things that I want to try to be better at. Just personally, I think I have things to work on, and I think having a kid makes you really want to be the best version of yourself. Parts of my own childhood I'm reflecting on are what made me feel a sense of childhood wonder, what made me feel loved, what made me feel safe, what made me feel excited, inspired, all of that stuff. I want to cultivate those feelings for my kid as best I can. And so I'm just reflecting on all of that. Question number 3, what kind of man do you hope your child sees when they watch you, not when you talk? I think leading by example is going to be tough, but I think it's something that happens whether or not you're aware of it. That child is going to look to you for guidance and leadership and safety and approval and all of these things. And I'm going to try my absolute best to be the best man that I can be for my kid. And I think that means for me, not breaking promises to myself, because when I do that, I tend to run away and hide in some way, shape, or form. And I want to make sure that my child sees me following through on my word, and also being a warm masculine presence and being a healthy new example of masculinity for my son, I think is very important for me, that he has space to become whatever he wants to be, whoever he wants to be, however he wants to identify, that this is a safe place for him to explore that. And I will never pass judgment on my child for that, and that he feels loved. And so I hope that when he watches me, he sees a man who lives by his code and doesn't abandon it, and he means what he says, and he does what he says he's going to do. And that's really important to me. Yeah. Question number 4. What are you afraid of getting wrong, and why do you think that fear is showing up now? I'm afraid of screwing up my kid in a way I can't foresee. Like, I'm afraid of in 10 years from now realizing that a behavior of mine was actually harmful, or the reason that someone felt pain or harm, and at the time I wasn't aware of it, or I didn't want to acknowledge it. And I don't think I'm an aggressive person. I don't think I'm a cruel person in any sense, but I think that, we all have our own baggage, our own things, and I hope that stays out of the way when it comes to raising my son and him seeing who I am as a person. And I worry about work. Like, I have a very demanding job that kind of, you go to sleep thinking about your job, you wake up thinking about your job, because, we own our own business. If we don't do what we have to do for that business, it will fail and nobody cares. Like, it is on us entirely to make sure that things go well. And so because of that, my job is often, at the forefront of my mind. And I think it's going to be really hard to push that aside. I'm already struggling with that a little bit. Just taking paternity leave for the short 6 weeks that I have is tough, to be able to put that down and trust that other people will keep things going is actually really difficult for me, which is interesting, because as a child I was so carefree, but as an adult I think I've assumed a lot of responsibilities that are not easy to put aside. Question number 5. What lessons did your parents teach you without ever saying them out loud? My parents are incredible. They both have such public trail behind me. They both have such amazing personalities. They really do. They're such charismatic people. They're fun to be around. They have friends and they enjoy having fun and they enjoy life. And I think that really stuck with me. And, just the importance of friendships and the importance of not taking everything so seriously all the time, and lightening up and enjoying the good things in life, like good food and good company, and, having dinner parties and stuff. Like, I had a good childhood. My parents were very, very loving. And I hope to, I want to do those things too. And I want to provide my son with experiences that he remembers warmly when he's an adult. And I think my parents did that really well. Question number 6. How has becoming a father already begun to change the way you measure success? So this is kind of relates back to question number 4. Like, I feel I will be successful when I'm able to put work down and be present in the moment and not let time simply pass, and to truly be present. That to me is a measure of a success, especially in today's world. There's a million distractions, a million reasons not to be present. And I, despite all of that, want to be as present as possible. And I think, being able to do that is a measure of success for me. And looking back on my time, when I'm on my deathbed and thinking, wow, like I really did as much as I could, and I soaked up as much as I could. And I want my family to know that I was present as well. I want them to feel my presence. I don't want them to feel an absence despite me being in the room. And so that's really important to me, and I think that's my new measure of success. Question number 7. What does being present mean to you now compared to before you knew a child was coming? So being present before obviously was giving that sort of being present mentality to my wife, and making sure that we were having true quality time and not just kind of scheduling stuff and not feeling it and being there. I think being present is so incredibly important. And now that we have a child coming, it's going to be even more important, to be present for her, to be present for the child, and to be present for myself. I want these memories. I want life. I don't want to forget things or to be worried about work all the time. There's a time and space for that. And I think as I get older, I hope I become better and better at being able to put things down. Not everything needs to be solved 911. If people need help with something, they can figure it out if I'm not available, and the world will move on. And I hope that as it does, I'm there to see it. So question number 8. In moments when work, ambition, or responsibility pull you away, what do you hope bring you back? So I think, to say all of this stuff is well intended, but I will still struggle with it. I will still struggle with work knocking on my door and trying to take my attention away. And I think that what I hope brings me back in those moments, I hope is like my kids' laughter, or my wife laughing with my kid, or them asking me a question and me realizing that maybe the whole point is for them to slow you down so you can be there with them. Not everything's about being efficient all the time. I think Western culture really drills that into us, but yeah, I hope the human moments bring me back and make me remember. Question number 9. What parts of your culture, values, or worldview feel most important to pass on? So if you don't know this, I am Indigenous. I'm Wolastoqey, formerly known as Maliseet, from the Wabanaki territory in the east coast of Canada, Turtle Island. And I grew up knowing who I was, and that sense of pride that I was given from my father and my grandmother and my family, it's invaluable. I cherish my identity, my Indigenous identity, in a way that I can't measure in words, and I want to pass that on to my son. And I won't share his name because he's not born yet, and we aren't sharing his name. But his name was chosen with that in mind. He is getting a name from my lineage, so that he might feel a connection to who he is in moments where he feels lost. I don't always feel like the most Indigenous person, and when that happens, it's easy to fall down a rabbit hole. But I'm a status Indian. Like it's who I am, and I have so much love and pride for that part of my life, and I will pass that on to my son. I can't not pass it on to my son. The way it was passed on to me is some of my best memories, and my worldview was entirely shaped by that. And so I hope he watches his dad and takes a lot of pride in knowing where he comes from. Question number 10. What do you hope your child never has to unlearn? I hope that our boy watches his mother and father and has a very healthy example of a good relationship, what it means to be communicative in a relationship, to respect one another, to love one another, and to communicate effectively and to always work things out. I hope he doesn't ever, as an adult, enter a relationship where he can't express himself because he learned toxic behaviors as a child. It's my goal to show him that we respect one another, we communicate when something's wrong, and that is more important than your anger. It's okay to feel anger, it's okay to feel those feelings, but being able to step away from a conversation and say, hey, look, I just need a few minutes to debrief, get some emotion off of me, and I'll come back. I think that's so important to learn. Instead of just blowing up in a conversation, never solves anything. And I hope that he never has to learn any toxic relationship behaviors or unlearn any toxic relationship behaviors because his mother and father really set a good example. And I think we're doing that. Yeah, I think we're doing that. Question number 11. When you imagine the hardest conversation you may one day have with your child, what do you hope you can offer them in that moment? It doesn't matter what the conversation is about, per se. I want my child to feel that I unconditionally love them and that I will be there to support them no matter what. No matter what it is that they're going through, their dad is going to be there for them. I don't care what it is. I will love that child unconditionally, and I want him to feel that in every conversation that we have. I might provide guidance, I might not always agree, but I'm always going to approach things from that place of unconditional love. Question number 12. How do you want your child to understand love by watching how you love their mother? So that we kind of talked about this, but I want him to see how much I love his mom all the time. We're always joking around or chasing each other or laughing, and we love each other so much and we're always goofy with each other. Like, I want him to remember that so clearly, and remember that sense of playfulness and fun and lightheartedness and love. And I hope that he's able to have that for himself one day. And I hope that he sees a man who respects his wife and who really puts his family first and listens to what she has to say and not decide what she means. And I think that that's so important. Like, as men, we often want to offer a solution. We don't want people to be in pain, and we try to offer solutions, but man, just listen. Like, honestly, like, or ask, like, do you need a solution right now, or would you prefer I listen? It's kind of silly, might feel silly asking it, but seriously, that will take you a long way. And I hope our son watches that and goes, wow, like, this is really effective, and this is what it means to be in a good relationship. Question number 13, what does strength look like to you now, and how is it different from before? So this reminds me of the success question in a sense. Like, strength to me used to mean like physical strength. It used to mean being like highly successful money-wise, having a very good career, kind of the more superficial things. I did always have a sense of having a strong character. I knew that life was coming from me and not happening to me. And I do think that I learned that early on. And because of that, I was able to push myself in a good direction. But now the way that it's different is like just being selfless, sacrificing time of your own, energy of your own for your family or for the greater good, and giving back. And strength is truly how you show up, and it's how you compose yourself as well. Like, being able to breathe through difficult conversations, being able to have a difficult conversation successfully without blowing up or running away or feeling like it's too much. And it's okay if you do feel those things, but knowing that you want to work on that, I think, is such a measure of strength, and not quitting, because things are tough, and really just breathing through it and staying the course and working on yourself. I think, like, I am so far from perfect or far from who I want to be. And I know that that's a process, and that's okay. And I'm trying to enjoy the whole thing. And for me, like, journaling has always been a measure of my mental health. If I'm doing really well, I'm often writing a lot, and that's because I'm able to get everything out of my mind onto paper, see myself reflected back at me through words, and make some decisions because of that. And I think that that's so powerful. So I think strength is doing what needs to be done, despite there often being a cost, whether it's time, energy, whatever it is, but doing what needs to be done. Yeah, I think that's a huge part of strength. Yeah, and be authentically yourself. Like, there's a million reasons to become a persona that already exists. There's a million reasons to be something that you see on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Like, you can easily succumb to what society wants you to be, but to be yourself and to know who you are, oh my gosh, like, that's so huge. That's invaluable, and people are drawn to that. People are magnetic, and they often forget who they are in trying to be someone else. And I think strength is being able to do that despite all of the incoming BS. Question number 14. If your child were to watch this interview years from now, what would you want them to hear underneath your answers? I would want our son to watch this interview and know that his dad is trying to do everything that he can to prepare and to express and to just take this experience on with open arms and really do my best. Like, I've never had a kid before. I don't know what I'm doing, all these videos on how to prepare, like, nothing prepares you really. And I hope he sees this and just, sees a vulnerable man who was excited to be a father and who loved his son so much and remembers his dad through the stages and gets to connect the dots and say, wow, this is where my dad was on my due date. This is who he was back then. And I can see how he got to where he is now because of who he was then. And I hope that inspires him in his own journey. And son, if you are watching this, man, you changed our lives. You already have, and you're not even here. I'm going to start crying. We love you. Question number 15. Right now, in this exact moment of becoming, who are you choosing to be? Who am I right now? You go through an identity shift when your child is about to be born. You're kind of like, your early 20s are over. You're no longer like, you aren't your priority anymore. And if you are, like, that's a problem, I think. To put yourself above your baby that's about to be here is really not good, I think. So I'm trying to be that selfless person. I'm trying to be what I think it takes to be a father. And to me, what that means is someone who's here, especially with my wife. Like, I'm trying to be there for her, give her what she needs, and just like, I hope she feels me in her life right now, you know? And I'm going through an identity shift, really. I'm 29 years old. I'm turning 30 in 2 months. I'm going through a shift, a change in my life, and it's a little weird. Like, I've felt a bit of mourning. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the end of a era, the end of just me and Bethany, my wife, the end of being able to get up and do whatever I want whenever I want. Like, that is tougher to deal with ending than you might think if you're watching this before a child, or before you're even expecting or anything. Like, there is truly a sense of shift within your own identity, at least for me at this stage. And it's crazy because I haven't 100% flipped into that new person yet, and I don't think I will for some time, and that's okay. That is okay. I just know that I am on this journey, and that my son's arrival is changing who I am, but in the most profound, beautiful way. And I'm just going into the process as open-minded as possible and reflecting as much as I can. And I'm just trying my best, man. I'm just trying my best. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. So those are the 15 questions I thought I would interview myself with today, days before my son will be here. If you're watching this and you're expecting a child soon, I hope this gave you some sense of relatability or new way of thinking about things. Yeah, man, I'm so excited to meet my boy, and it's going to be so soon. Like I said, today's the due date. Leewin, thank you for watching. Best of luck to you. And we're all just trying to do our best.